The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. We will start in 2 minutes because we have to wait for a few attendees. Before we start, I have to tell you two important things relating to the operating instructions. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box on the right side. And yeah, we will answer them afterwards. And besides that, the webinar will be recorded, so you have the opportunity to take a look at the webinar and the presentation later. So I think we can start now. Again, good morning. Thank you very much for registering to our webinar relating to the SAP integration with Microsoft. We are delighted to welcome you to this webinar today. Just before we start, something to our to the speakers itself. My colleague Coder is our SVP for the product management and pre-sales department. He will take over the technical part, and my name is Benjamin. I'm responsible for the marketing and sales department. So then let's continue with the agenda. At first, we will start with a short overview about our company itself and about the product portfolio. Then we will go deeper insights relating to the products Xtract IS and Xtract Universal. And after that, you will see how the software works in a live demo. And at the end, as I already told, we have a Q&A session. And then you can ask your questions and we will answer them, or we'll try to answer them. Yeah, then we will start with the overview. We were founded in 2004, so we are on the market for 15 years now. And we are specialized in SAP interface technology. That means we can only SAP integration and we do only SAP integrations. So in this area, we have over 2,800 customers worldwide. Yeah, it starts from the Swabian middle class company to big, several big companies, which we see on the next slide. And yeah, we have some exotic birds also like the platinum mine in Zimbabwe or dairy in Kenya. And we have over 180 partners worldwide, which are very important for us because, as you see, we have 95% of revenue with license sales. That means the whole consulting part will be done by the partners, and they have implemented our solution in their products and in their product portfolio also. We have over 35 employees. Most of them are based here in Stuttgart in our headquarters, but besides that, we have also a subsidiary in Seattle, near to Microsoft, and in Hong Kong and in Paris. So as I already told, here are our references or a part of them. Yeah, we have customers from our brands. It starts from big oil companies to healthcare and foodstuff companies. Obviously, as a company based in Stuttgart, it's common courtesy to have Daimler also as a customer. And yeah, now we'll switch to the product portfolio. So now it's my colleague's part.
Thank you, Benjamin. Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Koda Elsein. I'm delighted to speak to you today about SAP integration with Microsoft. Let me start with an overview about our portfolio. As Benjamin said, so we are specialized in SAP connectivity and SAP interfaces. We distinguish between two areas. The right area here for process integration, where SAP systems integrates with other systems like SharePoint, like Office 365, like workflow engines, for example, with Nintex and so far, or were other cloud applications and so far. One example here, if you have any process in SAP and you want to integrate that with the workflow, for example, an Nintex workflow that is running in SharePoint on-prem or in Office 365 and so forth. So that is just one possible scenario. On the left side, you would find our products for BI, for business intelligence. So here everything has to do with mass data extraction from SAP, where here we traditionally come from the environment of the SQL Server. So the data warehouse solution from Microsoft. A large part of our customers use the Microsoft technology. But we have started also to support non-Microsoft solutions to integrate with SAP. When we look here, we see, for example, we have here solutions at the bottom, Xtract IS and Xtract IS for Azure. So these are our SAP connectors that can be used as plugin in the integration services. The integration services is the ETL tool and the Microsoft technology. So here we have two products, two versions. One is for using on-prem with integration services, and the other one is to be used in the cloud version called Azure Data Factory. So here we will have a scenario, we'll have a live demo about that. And then we have Xtract Universal, so it's our universal connector that integrates SAP with any environments. We will see later the architecture, and we will see some integration scenarios with different Microsoft products. Then we have other connectors, for example, for reporting services. And then you would see here products like Xtract for Alteryx, for example, for integration with Alteryx. It's an embedded, it's an plug-in directly in Alteryx, or you see also Port Connector. That's again here an SAP integration tool for the port software. That's so far about the portfolio. Let me start here with architecture of Xtract IS, our SAP connector for integration services for SSIS. So as you see here, in general, the source system would be an SAP system. So that can be the transactional classical SAP system. It can be ERP, or the newer version is for HANA. Ensure analytical systems like BW and BW for HANA are also supported as source systems. Here is important to say that we are an SAP partner, and we have built our own SAP connector that is also certified by SAP. And in the integration services, that is the ETL tool of the SQL Server. You can install our product Xtract IS and use it as a plugin there for all connection scenarios with SAP. So here, read and write access is supported to the SAP system. Important here to understand that technically we connect always to the SAP application layer, to the SAP application server. So we support an extraction of data of all objects that are available on the SAP application server and so far. Here you see the components that are available So for example, when you would like extract data from an ECC system or an S4HANA system, you may extract data from tables. You would like maybe to extract data and join them from different tables and so far. So that is important, and that are here our component for reliable and mass data extraction and so far. Then you may use here the query component, for example, that enables data extraction from SAP queries. You may know that from SAP transaction SQ01, for example, and so far. Then we have a report component that enables you to extract data from ABAP reports and ABAP programs and so far. Function and BAPI module is also available to extract data directly from the SAP system. Important to see here that this component can also be used for bidirectional integration with SAP. So it means you can use it to write data back into your SAP system or your BW system. Think, for example, of planning data. If you are using any external tool for planning and you'd like to write that data back into SAP. Yeah. So that would be a scenario. And then we have premium components. The first one is the delta Q component. So that is, let's say, the classical component to extract data from extractors and data sources. And it uses the extractor API of the SAP system that in general used by the BW system to transport the data from ERP to BW system. And here all extractors are supported that include extractors for hierarchies, for text, for master data, and for transaction data, and so forth. And let's say the successor is the ODP component. So ODP stands for operational data provider. So that is here then the new generation of SAP integration. And that is also supported. This new component has been released this year, and we are looking to invest more in that component and in newer technology and integration with SAP with newer versions and so far. So these are here components that can be used in general with the ERP systems. Some of them, like the ODP component, like the Delta Q component, for example, and table joins, can be also used to extract data from BW. But in general, in BW system, you may have queries, as you know, or other info providers, info cubes, multi-dimensional info provider in general that can be used to extract data. And for that, we offer the cube component for that. Then we have component to extract hierarchies. For example, you can extract data again from OpenHub and so forth. So here you see the different components. That is similar for the Xtract IS version for Azure or for Azure Data Factory. So here again, if you'd like to run everything in the Azure Data Factory, you have there an SSIS runtime. So then your SSIS package can be then deployed to Azure Data Factory and will run then in the cloud. And for that, sure, you have a secure communication as your SAP system may be running on premise and so far. So that would be also supported. So that is here about the architecture and that the components available. Now let me switch to a live demo. For that, I have here Visual Studio. I have special versions for the SQL Server integration services. And as you see here, for example, I have here prepared two packages. This package here, as you see, for extracting data from ECC system. Let me create a new package and show you how that works. So here you see I have now a new package. So here it's easy. The first thing you need is to define a SAP connection. and in a connection to your destination. In this case, I would take a SQL Server. So here, for example, you see I have that connection here. It is an SQL Server connection. So it's here running on my local host, and that is here the name of my SQL Server. Here, test connection. So that connection is successful. So I would use that later. Now I need a connection to the SAP system. And here you would use our connection manager. That is part of our solution. Okay, let me add that. And now here I can define the connection. So as you see, typical information is needed. So I need, for example, an SAP user with the right access rights. I need to define the client and the language. I can either connect to an application server or to a message server if load balancing is used and so far. And I need the SAP instance number. Let me here click on test connection and to check that the connection is successful so far. Okay, I hope that we have a good internet connection. Okay, I'm not sure. Let me check that. Okay, I think that was my error. Here I need to set the right SAP system. Okay, now it's fine. So you see now I have a successful connection to our SAP system. So in general here, when you are working with integration services, as with any ETL tool, in this case, you can here define a data flow task. And in the data flow task, in general, you would define here your sources, you would define your transformations, any transformation you would like, and then destinations. In this case, when you install our product, you will find here all the components that we have talked about here on the left side. I have here put some of them here in the favorite so I can access them faster. So let me start with here the table component, the simple component just to extract data from tables and from SAP views. Now I would use here the connection manager. I'm connected now with the SAP system, and now I can directly search on the SAP system. I can search for any table name or for any table description. In this case, for example, let's say we would like to extract data, customer master data. So now I have here the option, for example, to select this table here, the customer master data, the general master data. When I select that, then I get here all the available fields from the SAP with the description. So I can select all fields, or I can just select the required fields. So in this case, for example, let me select here some columns. So for example, here the customer number, the customer country, name, city, maybe street, telephone number, and so far. And sure, here I can define a where clause to filter data on the SAP side. Let's say maybe I would like to extract customer only from a specific country, so I can set here a where clause on this field here for the country key. So let's say, for example, land DE, for example, for Germany. And let's click now on preview. Okay, and now we have a preview of our SAP data directly. So that's fine. Let's click now on OK. So now we have defined our source. We are extracting customer master data from a table. Now it's optional. You can use here any transformation if you'd like to sort data, to join it with other data, to change any data types, to create a new columns, and so far. That's all possible. We will skip that, and then we would use just here and a destination, in this case, to write that data directly into a SQL Server. So I would connect here the two components. Let me here give it a name. Let's call it here webinar customers. That is here, that should be now the destination in the SQL Server. So that is here the connection to the SQL Server that we have defined. And now I just click here on new to create the SQL Server table, our destination table. So here you see we have all the metadata that's coming from SAP and so far. So now here, just with one click, now the destination is created. So now I have a SQL Server table created. Let me show you that. If I go now here to my database, and here you see now webinar customer, the table exists now, but when I check the content, it's still empty. That's fine so far. Now I can execute that task here manually in this case to extract the data. So now the task is running, and sure, later I may schedule that using, for example, the SQL Server scheduler and so far. Okay, so you see that here the result here, I have a log here, and then I see here everything is green. I see the number of rows extracted, so that's successful. If I go here again to my SQL Server and check here, you would see I have the data now directly into the SQL Server. Okay, so that was here just a sample scenario for extracting data from a table, yeah, and running that here directly in Visual Studio. As I've told you, you can schedule that later. And sure, if you are using the Xtract IS version for Azure, you can then deploy that directly to your SSS runtime in Azure Data Factory. I will skip that for the moment, but if you have questions later, you are welcome to come back again to us or to check our documentation so far. Okay, so let me go here again to my control flow. So that was here the data flow task. Let me call it data flow and customers. Now I would like to have another data flow task to show you another component, especially the Delta Q component to extract data from an extractor. Let me here disable that one, and let's call it here data here and extractor. Okay, so here go again, and now again I would use here another component called the Delta Q component. With the Delta Q component, you can extract data from any extractor. For us now, let me search here for an extractor for sales order items. That means, for example, you can extract any data for, let's say, sales order and transaction data for sales order, quotations, and so forth. Now, let me click here on OK. So now here we have the available fields. We can here create again filters. If we'd like to have, let me here select all the fields in this case. And as you may know that from extractors, here you have different options modes. So you can extract the data in full mode. If you'd like to extract in incremental mode, that is the delta update mode that's available. Before you do that, you have to initialize that and so far. So I have done that so far. So I would just use here the delta update mode. For this component, you have to make a customizing or a configuration on the SAP side. I have done that. As you see, you would create there, for example, just a logical destination and so far. Let me use that. Yeah, and now if I check here just on customizing check, just to be sure that everything is fine with the connection to the SAP system, with the customizing and so far. So I am able to extract that connectors in Delta update mode from the SAP system. Just click on OK. And here again, we will skip the transformation. I'm just using an OLEDB destination. I would like to extract the data output, not the log, not the other one, just the data. And here again, let's call it webinar sales order extractor. So again, we are using the same connection to the SQL Server. Let's create here the SQL Server table. Let's here check the mapping. So that are the fields coming from SAP on the left side, and on the right side, the fields that are available in our SQL Server table. So that's fine now. Let's save that. And again, let me just run this task here manually in in Visual Studio in this case. So now that's running on the SAP side. That extractor then executed in Delta update mode. Okay, that's fine. If you check here, here you have the log again. You can check that here and so far. So everything is successful, and we get in this case the message from the SAP system. As you see, no data available. So we see it here. No rows are being extracted. That's fine, as I am running that in Delta update mode. So there are no changes on the SAP system since the last extraction. Yeah. So sure, we can we can change that. For example, if I go now to SAP and just maybe create or change any quotation, let's do that here. Okay, let me log into the SAP system. Okay, and let me go to the transaction to change a quotation. Here you see change a quotation. Now I can select a quotation. Let me select this one here. Okay, let's take this one here, for example. And if you check now here the quotation, you see here we have two positions with two materials. And now I can just maybe here change the quantity, yeah, from 60 to 70. So that's all, and just save it. So that's all. We have done that here in SAP. Now that change is directly available. I have just to run that here again on the Delta update mode as we have done. And now we should get that changes from the SAP system. Okay, so now the process is running, and that's fine. You see here we have two rows. Let me show you the result. Let me go again to the SQL Server, and let me refresh that. And that is here webinar sales order extractor. Okay, so you see here we have two rows. The first one is, as you see here, the old status, and this is here the new one. And if we check here for the quantity field, let me check that here. You see it. So now we have the quantity 70 as I have changed that. Yeah, and as you see here with this component, you are really able to extract any extractors from the business content and in Delta mode and so far. I have done that here with the Delta Q mode. That can be similar done with the newer ODP component too. Okay, that's fine so far. We have now seen two scenarios with tables and with an extractor. Let me now show you a scenario for extracting data from a BW system. Yeah. For that, I have here a connection. Let me just copy the connection and change that to create a new connection to BW. Just call it BW. And let me just here change that to connect to my BW system. Okay, so successful. Now let me go into my data flow task. Here in this case, I would use this component here. As I have two connections to SAP, I would use here the BW connection. Okay, and now I can search directly on the SAP system. You see we have here two options. You can search either for a cube, for a multi-provider and so forth, or for a query. Let me here in this case search for an info cube, and I have a sales demo cube. Let me search for that. Let me select that, and then we see here on the left side all available fields. So this one are the key figures or the measures, and then I have the dimensions. So you can just select the dimensions that you would like to have. I would just select some of them. Yeah. And you have here further settings. For example, if you'd like, let's say, if here the name is very technical, you can use here the description. This one here, a column name. You can set here package size. If you are extracting a cube or a query, let's say with millions or 100,000 of rows, so that's possible. you can here set the package size, that is the number of rows that is extracted in a data package from the BW system. And again, we have here an option for automatic slicing. If your result is really too big, that's not supported by BW in this case, here we can with automatic slicing then even extract it without any errors or issues and so far. Okay, I can here click on preview. I have selected here a small cube in this case. Here you see then a preview of the data. And again, as we have done it now just with a couple of clicks, I can here now, let's say webinar BW cube. I can then extract that data with the integration services directly to the SQL Server. So that's the mapping, that's fine. And now here just execute the task. Okay, so now it's running again. Okay, so that's fine. As I've told you, it's just a small demo query with 48 rows. And if I go here again to my SQL Server, and here webinar BW cube, then let me check that. Then we have here the result directly into in the SQL Server. Okay, so that was here so far with Xtract IS in general. And as I've told you, all the data packages that we have created, if you are using Xtract IS for Azure, or you would like it to use it with the Azure Data Factory, and so far as just, let's say, one click, then you can deploy it directly to the Azure Data Factory, and then you can schedule it there and so far. Okay, that was the first approach that we have using an ETL service, in this case the integration services. We have another approach. We offer a connector called Xtract Universal. It's again SAP connector. It offers the same connectivity to the source system. Yeah, so it offers a read access to the SAP systems. That includes ERP, S4HANA, BW, BW for HANA, and sure all modules in the ERP system and so far. It offers the components that we have seen again to extract data from the different systems, and it can bring that data into different environments. Yeah, so you can extract it to different BI and analytics tools. Today we will check that with Power BI, for example. It can bring it the data into different cloud storage. We will see that today with Azure Blob Storage. You can bring the data here again to a data warehouse or just a database, either on premise or in the cloud. We offer here different well-known databases and data warehouses. In this case, when you are working here with Microsoft technology, you may use the SQL Server either on-prem or Azure SQL, that's also supported, or for example, Azure Data Warehouses. So that is the third scenario that I would like to show you that. And there are further options. For example, let's say you are using SharePoint, either SharePoint on-prem or SharePoint online as part of 365, and you would like just to extract SAP data into a SharePoint list. Yeah, that is maybe a different scenario, and I would show you that today. Here, the important topic is that Xtract Universal is a standalone. Yeah, you don't need the integration services for that. You don't need any ETL tool for that. Yeah, just a standalone. But if you are using any, let's say, any scheduler, any ETL tool, and so far, you can use it in combination. That's possible. Okay, now let me start with the live demo. So here you see I have my Xtract Universal Designer. So now I would be here connected to the server. Is running here on the on my laptop on the local host and so far. And here again, in general, you would need connections. The first connection would be again to the SAP system. So as you see here, you may have your connection to an ERP system. So it's similar to the connection that we have seen to an ERP system, to a BW system, or to an S4HANA or BW for HANA and so far. That's all supported. So that is here the source connection. Again, similar, we need a connection to the destination, and here you click just on add destination, and here you see the list of the supported destinations. As I've told you, that can be databases, data warehouses, BI and analytics tools, cloud storage, and different systems. We offer also web services, as you may see here, for example, OData format or CSV format and so far. That's all is supported. Today we will focus on scenario with SQL Server. With the SQL Server is here similar. You would now, and you need to define your server name, the database, and so far. I will show you that later. If you'd like to work with, you see Azure Data Warehouse is also supported. It's similar to the SQL Server. You can also extract your data to an Azure Blob storage. So you need again here to define the connection. I have prepared some connections, so I would show you that. You see here for Power BI, we have two options, either writing data into Power BI dataset or using our Power BI connector in the Power BI desktop. I would show you that here. That option would work with Power BI online. So as you see, it's in a beta mode actually, but it can be tested and evaluated in trial version, something like that. We will release that officially in the next days. And the last option would be here, for example, to extract data into SharePoint list. So that can be SharePoint on-premise or SharePoint online. So these are here the different options. Let's start again similar as we have done with a scenario to extract data into a SQL Server. And here again, I have a SQL Server connection. Let me show you that here. Here, SQL Server local. Again, I'm connected here with my SQL Server on the local host and with this database. Let me check the connection. You see that's successful, so that's fine. And now I would like to use it then. So again, let's here define our extraction. I would start again with a connection to an ERP system. I need again here an extraction name. Let's call it here webinar SAP customers. You see here again the different connectors that are available. Yeah? We have used the table component. Now let me maybe use here the table join component, so I can show you here the ability to join data from different tables and so far. So again, let's start with a similar scenario. Let's extract data from a customer master. Here again, we see the available fields. So let's select, for example, here the customer number, the country, the name, maybe the city, and so far. If we'd like to join that, if we need maybe further data about customer. So let's check here. We have, for example, here in this case here, master sales data for customer. So let's join that. Here, the relation will be created automatically between the two tables based on the metadata and so far. In this case, based on the customer number and so far. Ensure you can add or change that mapping. In this case, for example, here I see further fields available. Let's say I would like to have the sales organization, the distribution channel and division. I just click on that and you see here that is here available. Here again, I have further possibilities. For example, I can define again here a where clause as we have done that. So let me do that here. In this case, let me take country. In this case, for example, let's take maybe US. Yeah? And now let's say, okay. Okay, and now let's check here. That is here our extraction. So that is the name. We are using the table join component. We are again connected to the ERP system using this connection here. And now we have to define the destination. So this is here the default destination, in this case a web service, but I would now just use the SQL Server connection here to the SQL Server local. As you see here, I have here default settings. So for example, the destination table will be automatically created using this option here by Xtract Universal. I don't have to create it manually and so far, and I have here show further options. Yeah. That will be here the name. I can change the name. The data will be processed if I would like later to merge it and so far. As you see, there are here further options for that. And as you see, for example, if I need to run any SQL statement or maybe run any SQL stored procedure, I can do that here using custom SQL and so far. That's all supported. So I'm just using here the default settings. Let's say OK. Now the destination is set to SQL Server local, so that's fine. Let me just here change the settings and let just extract 100 rows. So that should be very fast in this case. Okay, that's fine. Let me go with you at first to the SQL Server. So now we are connected to this database here. Let me here refresh. Okay, you see, I still don't have the webinar SAP customers table. Now let me run that here manually in the designer. Okay, so that was it really very fast. If I here click on refresh again, I see now the number of rows extracted. I see further information about duration and so far. And if I click here on log, I have all the information available. Yeah. Okay, now if I switch to SQL Server here again, if I here click on refresh, you see now the table is here available now and the data are available. Yeah. Okay. So that was here similar to the first scenario. The first scenario with Xtract IS, we were using the integration services as an ETL tool. In this scenario here, we are using Xtract Universal just as a standalone without any ETL. If you need any ETL in this case, or any transformation, let's say, you would do that after the data is loaded into the SQL Server. So here we have another approach, it's called ELT. So we extract the data from the source system, we load it into the destination, and then apply the transformation. Okay, let me show you that if I would like to bring that data into another destination, how easy it is. Yeah? In this case here, just click on destination. You see I have here different destinations. Let me show you the Azure Blob storage. So in this case here, I have an Azure Blob storage. So connection is successful. Let's say OK, and let me use this here as now Azure Blob as a destination for my extraction. Yeah? As you see here, again, I have here the name. I can append any timestamp. I can here use compression for that. And let me click on OK. For that, I have here an Azure Storage Explorer. So that is here the storage that I'm using. And later we will check then the result here. So now again, let me run that. Okay, so that was it again. Let me click here on refresh. You see everything is successful. And if I go here to my Azure Blob storage, click on refresh, and you see here webinar SAP customers with compression, and it's available. Yeah. So just with 2 clicks, I was now able to bring that data into Azure Blob storage. Okay, how would that work if I would like to bring it, for example, into Power BI? So here is similar. I have just to select the destination for that. Yeah? I have here a Power BI connector destination. So that's all. And let me now click on OK. And now for that, if I go now to Power BI and there click on Get Data and click on Other, then you have here our Xtract Universal connector directly. As I've told you, it's at the moment in the beta mode, but can be used, tested, and evaluated and so far. Okay, now I have to connect to Xtract Universal to see a list of the available extractions. So that's fine so far. I can here just connect here, copy just the URL for the Xtract Universal where everything is available. Let's click on OK. Okay, let me check. I need that. Okay, now it's perfect. Now I am connected with the Xtract Universal, and now I see all the extractions available with that destination for Power BI connector in this case. And now we see here, for example, the extractions that we have created together, webinar SAP customers. And now I see here a preview of that. Yeah. And now if I click here on load, so the data will be in this case directly extracted from SAP and delivered to Power BI without any caching, without any middle layer and so forth. Okay, so that's fine. If I check here now, you see now I have here my data, and you see here I have just 100 rows. So that's fine. I have here the customer. The land is US, so that's fine. If I go here, if I change any setting that will be available there, if I, let's say, maybe just send here the number of rows to 500, and now come here again and just here click on refresh. So that's all. Now data are extracted again, and now you see I have here 500 rows directly from the SAP in Power BI. Okay, now let me show you the last destination. In this case, it should be SharePoint list. Let me here just change the number of rows. Let me just take any, okay, 50 rows, that's fine. Let's say okay. And now again, let's see the destination. I'm using here a SharePoint online destination. Yeah. Here again, a SharePoint list will be created. Here the default name and drop and create further options are supported. That's fine. I'm using just the default mode. Let's say okay. Okay, and for that I have here, as you see in SharePoint Online, a site collection, and later then I would have to see here the list. So now let's here run it manually again here using the command tool for that. In this case, always when I'm running the command tool, we speak about push destination. Yeah, so we push, in this case, the data into the SharePoint list. Data are extracted from SAP and pushed into the SharePoint list. It's similar when we push it into an Azure Blob or into a SQL Server. Yeah, and that can be scheduled. You can just use the Windows Task Scheduler. For example, if you are using an ETL tool or script, that can be done. Yeah? Here we see everything is successful. If I go here now to my SharePoint Online, let me just refresh here the website. And here you see I have now webinar SAP customer list created with my SAP data. Let me click on that. Okay, so I think my SharePoint Online needs sometimes. Okay, let me try that again. Okay, and let's click here. Okay, now it's better. Okay, that's fine. So you see here we have our list. We have here the fields and the data, SAP data directly. Okay, so now we have seen how we can, with Xtract Universal, we can extract data into different destinations. Now we have seen that with SQL Server, with Azure Blob Storage, with Power BI, with SharePoint List. But sure, you can also use any other component. Yeah, not only the table join component, but for example, again, if you'd like to use an extractor. Let me show you here that is the similar extractor that we have used for sales order items. So that can be used here again with Delta update mode and so far. And in this case, as you see, I have set here the destination to SQL Server, and here similar. I can run it here. In this case, again in Delta update mode, and to extract the data in Delta update mode. So it means incremental from the SAP system. If I click here on refresh again, you see 0 rows, so that means no changes in SAP. Yeah. So again here, if I go back to SAP system and change any data, so I would have then the new data with the next run. Yeah. And that would be here the same for other extractions. So for example, if you'd like to extract data from query, as we have talked, from function models or PAPI, or from ABAP reports, that's available. If you'd like to extract from cubes in query or BW hierarchy, Open Hub destinations and Delta Q, that's all available. And here the new ODP component will be then available here in the next time. Okay, that's about extraction reversal with a short overview, with the possible destinations, with the possible source objects. And now let me switch again to the presentation, and let me hand over to Benjamin.
Thank you very much, Kodo. It was very interesting, like every time. If you want to get to know these products, just have a look at our website. We offer a free of charge trial version there, which is valid for 30 days. There are no restrictions, and you have also the opportunity to contact our support during this time, and we will support you. Besides that, we offer different, as I already told, we offer different services. We offer web sessions, we offer consulting together with our partners, workshops and webinars. And we have also additional materials like social media channels. We have our knowledge base and our online help, which includes interesting materials related to the dedicated products, and also some use cases and something like that. And besides that, we have also on the website success stories to all of our products available.
Okay, I think that's all. We can open the FAQ session and discuss any questions you may have.
Yeah, as already told, just put the questions in the chat box, and besides that, after the webinar we will have a survey. It would be great if you could participate and just answer a few questions that we can improve our webinars and make it a little bit more comfortable for you. So I have the first question. Can you tell me more about the licensing? Yeah, of course. Our license model is server-based. It means every server, independent if it's a productive or a non-productive one, has to be licensed. If you are interested in the detailed prices, of course, either you contact us directly or you can have a look at the website. There they are available also. Then I have a question. Can I use several add-ons with one installation relating to Xtract Universal? Yes, that's possible. As long as it's on the same server, you can have several add-ons. For example, like Kodo showed, Xtract IS, Xtract for Azure. Sorry, I completely mixed it up. Azure Blob Storage, Power BI, and SQL Server on one installation with on one server, and that's much cheaper price than buying several licenses for several servers.
Mm-hmm. So I see here a question. Can you help us to define extraction, to define which data we need when we would like to extract data from the SAP system? So for that, yes, we can help you, and for that we have a product. It's called BCM, Business Content Management. So you can use it where we have predefined extractions for different modules and so far. So we would just with one click, let's say, extract the data that you are interested in. If you are interested in that, you can contact us for that, and you would find further information on the website.
Exactly. And as already told, we will share the presentation and the webinar afterwards. So if you have any questions, just contact us directly. Yeah, and we will help you further, and we will delighted to support you. Besides that, I can't. Coda, just one further question.
Please.
I read you has a destination for click, click view, or click sense.
Yeah, that's right. As you have seen, we have, for example, as I've told you, we have different destinations for different analytics tools. Yeah, that include Power BI. I have shown you that we have a destination for Click. Yeah, but we have also further destinations. For example, for Tableau, for MicroStrategy, for Alteryx, and many others. Yeah, you would find further information on the website, and if you need, just contact me and we can organize a web session or a telco and talk in more details about that.
Perfect. I think we are done. So thank you very much for participating. Thank you very much for joining our webinar. Yeah, feel free to contact us afterwards, and we will happy to delight you contact you. And yeah, from my side, it was all.
From my side, the same. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Bye.
Goodbye.